Hey everybody, welcome back to BPS Woodworks. Got another little shop project going on here today. Thought I'd share it with you. It's been a while since I posted a video. So what we're working on today is upgrading some kitchen cabinets for a customer. As you can see, there's a stack of kitchen cabinet doors behind me. The customer has some sort of older builder grade standard cabinets. They're oak. They're in really good shape. And when your cabinets are in really good shape like this and you want to maybe kind of get a new cabinet look, a great way to do that is to have your cabinets painted. Another thing that you can do is upgrade the hardware. People usually, when they have them painted, they're going to put on new knobs or pulls. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and upgrade the hinges to a nice soft closed European style hinge. So the painters brought the doors to us so that we could drill out the holes to receive the newer style of soft close hinge. Most cabinets nowadays are going to have a 35 millimeter European style soft closed hinge on them. And that looks exactly like this. That's what this is. So the 35 millimeters refers to the diameter of this cup right here, which gets recessed into a pocket. And then there's two additional holes where the screws go to hold the hinge in. This part attaches to the face frame on the cabinet. So in order to put these style hinges on these doors, we have to get the holes drilled to accommodate that. The doors originally had on them a flat mounted hinge that mounted here. You can see the old screw holes there from those hinges. We're going to drill the new ones a little bit further, sort of about a standard distance from the top and bottom of the door is about 3 inches to the center of the 35 millimeter hole. So that's where we're going to put them, and the painter will go ahead and fill these, and you won't know they were there when they're done. So we have to make those holes to do that. The way that we do that in my shop is with an attachment on the drill press that'll actually drill all 3 of those holes at once. And I'll show you that in a few minutes. But there's a few things we got to address first. And with these particular doors here, we ran into a minor problem that I'm sure is common. And so I wanted to go over that with you, show you how we decided to solve it in this particular case here. So there's 3 things that you have to know when you want to pick out a European style 35 millimeter hinge. One thing you have to know is the design or style of the hinge that you need, and that varies a lot. There's a lot of different variations of these out there. This is probably the most common here, but there are other styles as well, and one of the things that'll determine that is the type of face frame and door that you have on your cabinet. Whether it's an overlay door, whether it's an inset door, whether your cabinet has a face frame or not. The vast majority of kitchen cabinets out there that you're going to encounter, and probably the ones in your house, are going to be standard face frame cabinets, which will take this type of a hinge here. So I mentioned drilling out the holes for them. This is a scrap piece of plywood that I was running some tests on while I was dialing in the jig that drills the holes. But just to show you one of these. The other thing that you have to know is what they call the tab. So after we drill the hole, and that hinge is going to go in that pocket like that, and then like I said, this attaches to the face frame on the cabinet, okay, and the door swings open and closed. So that little thickness that's left there between the edge of the door and the 35 millimeter hole for the hinge is called the tab. Most common is 3 millimeters. I've seen some that are 5 millimeters with different brands of hinges. These are Blum hinges. That's a 3 millimeter tab that you need there. So that brings us back to these cabinet doors. If you can see the design of this particular cabinet door, it's not a square edge door. The back edge of the door actually has a bevel on it. Okay, it's a mitered bevel. And so the problem with that is the number 3 thing that you have to know on your cabinet doors, which is the overlay. Okay, when we talk about overlay on a standard face frame kitchen cabinet, how far past the edge of the opening does the door go when it's closed? So if I have, just to keep simple numbers, if I have a 10-inch wide door and the opening in the face frame is 9 inches, then I have a 1/2 inch overlay on either side of that door. And when you order your hinges, you have to specify what overlay you need. And they have 1/2 and 5/8 and 3/4 and several different overlays that you can get. So because these doors have this bevel on them back here, what's going to happen if I drill that 35 millimeter hole, the 3 millimeter tab, the 3 millimeter distance is coming from the outside edge of the door, which is the point or the tip of the bevel. So you think, well, that's a simple solution. just readjust your jig so that the hole is being drilled in further to keep the entire hinge inside the solid wood on the door and stop that from happening. The problem is that when you do that, when the door is open, you've now moved this outer tip or outer point of the bevel, the actual outside edge of the door, you've moved it closer to the cabinet. And so it's going to rub on the cabinet face frame when you open and close it. Obviously, we can't have that. Okay, here I've gone and I've switched over to the macro lens on the camera. I wanted to try to get you a better depiction of what I'm talking about with this 3mm tab and why the bevel on the door causes a problem. Here's the bevel on the edge of the door, okay? Now imagine this block of wood that I've got sitting here was the face frame on your cabinet. If you can, I'm not sure if this will come out in the video or not, but on this pocket rule that I've got here, you can see that by the time we get from the face frame of the cabinet back to the inside edge of this bevel, that's at about 6, maybe 7 millimeters. And as I said earlier, these hinges call for a 3mm tab, so we've already doubled or more than doubled that if we move those hinges in order to keep the full cup inside the thicker part of the wood. So this outer edge right here of the door is what goes against the fence on the drill press table to set a 3mm tab so that that jig on the drill press drills that 35mm hole 3 millimeters back from that edge. The problem is, as we just demonstrated with the pocket rule, this inside edge of the bevel here is significantly further back than that. It's more than double the 3mm tab. So if I was to just set this up against the drill press fence as is, drill my hole, the hinge is going to sit right about there. And you can see the problem here, that this outer edge of the cup on the hinge is hanging out there in open air because of that bevel, which means when the door's shut on the cabinet, that's going to be visible. So in order to drill the hole back in here, I've now significantly increased the tab, the distance from here to the 35mm hole, which is going to cause this edge of the door to rub on the face frame of the cabinet. So what we decided to do in this case is we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to take the hinge side of the door, we're going to run them all through the table saw, and we're going to shave just a little bit off that edge, probably about a 1/16 of an inch. And that's going to give me just that little bit of extra clearance that I need so that it doesn't rub. Then I can hold the hinge in far enough to completely conceal it and not have this rub on the face frame. So once I rip that off, I'll go ahead and give it a sanding, so it's not a sharp point, clean it up, and then, because again, these are being painted anyway, once it's all painted and all the doors are reinstalled on the cabinets and they're all done exactly the same, we decided that we don't think that's going to be very noticeable at all. And that's the best solution for the customer to still be able to get the soft close hinges they want and avoid the cost of buying new cabinet doors.
Ooh yeah, building dreams with these two strong hands, crafting grooves in the sawdust lands.
Okay, so here we are at the drill press. This is the tool that I was talking about that's going to drill those 35mm cabinet hinge holes for us. So you can see here, there's 3 bits installed in this fixture. There's 2 smaller bits that drill the holes for the screws, and then there's a larger 35mm Forstner bit in the center that drills the pocket to receive the 35mm hinge cup. And there's a gearbox in here so that when the drill press is running, it turns all 3 of those bits at the same time. When we go ahead and plunge this down, it's going to plunge in and drill all 3 holes at once. And there's a depth stop that you can't see on the back of this that automatically sets the depth so I know when to stop at the correct depth. These fences here, this is actually a table attachment that I sort of very quickly whipped up for the drill press. It attaches to my drill press table. And I just, using some scrap T-track and knobs and stuff that I had laying around the shop, I made a couple of fences that I can loosen, and I can slide these stops back and forth on either side. And what these do is they flip up so that I can take a cabinet door, bring this over against the other one, and it's now setting my 3-inch distance that we talked about from the top of the door down to the center of the cup hinge. I drill that hole, And once I'm done, I just flip this stop up and I can slide the door down until the other stop drops. Slide it back to that one, and now I've got my 3 inches on that side. So it's just a very quick pop the door in there, hit the stops on each side, rinse and repeat. Makes it very efficient. Okay, so I got one all drilled out and tested, and we're in good shape. You can see here where I shaved that corner off that we talked about, and that'll get light sanding out here so we don't have a sharp edge. And then of course once it's painted, it won't be noticeable. You can see when you look at the door from the front, the overall profile still looks pretty much the same. Once all those doors are painted and installed on the cabinets, nobody will ever notice that. Well, you will because I told you about it, but nobody else will. And by doing that, we have our 3mm tab that we talked about from the edge of the cabinet to there. We are very, very close on that. You can see that we're about 4 millimeters. So we're within 1 millimeter of where we're supposed to be, and the adjustability in the hinges will take care of the rest of that. So problem solved. Now we rinse and repeat and drill the rest of them out.
Tap, tap, hear the mallets call.